Winston Smith is a man living in a place called Oceania in the year 1984. Oceania is one of three powerful states in the world, along with Eastasia and Eurasia. The world isn't some global connected village, but rather very closed off states, and people of each state know very little of the others. How did the world get to this point? Well, in the 50s, there was a series of wars that led to the destruction of the old world and creation of the new one. In Oceania, a party called INGSOC, short for English Socialism, won the war and took power. They have been able to control the country using very effective means. Winston works at the Ministry of Truth. His job is to alter history, meaning whatever the party says is true has to reflect on the historical records. For example, the country is at war with Eurasia. Everybody in the country has to believe that they have always been at war with Eurasia and have always been allies with Eastasia. This is false, as just a few years ago, they were at war with Eastasia and Eurasia was an ally. But if you ask any person on the road, they will tell you Oceania has always been at war with Eurasia. So Winston has to always change records daily, as the truth according to the party always changes, and they have to always have control of the past, present, and future. They even have devised a language called Newspeak, which is ambiguous and confusing. Its main aim is to diminish range of thought. So for example, one word can have different meanings, like war is peace, freedom is slavery. At the top of the party, there is a person called Big Brother. He is a shadowy figure and is said to always be watching. People have to always have their TVs on, watching party propaganda, and there are these things called telescreens placed everywhere, even in people's homes, to always spy on them. The citizens of this country cannot even have ideas or thoughts contrary to the party's position. Otherwise, they will be charged with thought crime. The party propaganda is so heavily entrenched in the society that even children will snitch on their parents to the party at the risk of their parents being vaporized. When they say vaporized, it's not just meant to disappear and then there's like missing person posters on electric poles and things like that. They make sure you are forgotten. Your family forgets that you ever existed. Your co-workers believe that you have never worked there, and there are no records anywhere of you ever existing. For a long time, even though Winston has been a dutiful worker, he always has memories of his childhood and internally questions party propaganda as he has memories that believes to be true even though they appear false. One day, he goes into a shop owned by an old man called Mr. Charrington. The area this shop is located is where the pros live. The pros represent the working class, or proletariats. The government really doesn't care much about them and doesn't really bother them much in terms of surveillance. They are the poor and stupid, according to the party, so they are easily manipulated. This shop contains antiques of old and is a way for Winston to connect to the past. He buys a diary from this shop, and when he's at home, sitting in a position where the telescreen cannot see him, starts writing down some memories and personal thoughts. He continues to go to work dutifully, even attending the 2-minute hit, which is where members of the party watch videos of the party's enemies, especially Emmanuel Goldstein, who is said to be Big Brother's enemy number one. Goldstein is said to run an underground organization called the Brotherhood, whose aim is to topple the party. Members of the party spend these 2 minutes hurling insults and booing Goldstein. It is during one of these events that Winston notices a man who seems unusual to him. He sees that this man is not that enthusiastic about all these shenanigans, and they have a brief stare at each other. This man's name is O'Brien. He believes that deep down, this man also has a rebellious spirit like him. He also notices this lady who works in the same building as him, showing great enthusiasm and hate toward Goldstein. Winston hates her. He feels bitter that she is youthful and beautiful and he cannot have her. She is actually a member of the Anti-Sex League, an organization focused on promoting celibacy and suppressing desires. You see, the party wants families, but not the traditional sort of family that two people start seeing each other and fall in love. You cannot get married without the party's permission, and having kids is a duty to the party, not out of love. Divorce is not allowed, and you have to raise the kids to be of use to the party. This is seen in Mr. Parsons, who lives in the same building as Winston. His kids are so loyal to the party that they set a market woman's skirt on fire after finding her wrapping fish using a poster of Big Brother. Winston continues to grow more rebellious towards the party, although never openly. He notices the lady from work following him a couple of times. He believes that she is a member of the Thought Police. One day, as he is walking down the corridor at work, he sees her walking towards him. She suddenly falls. As he's helping her get up, she slips a note in his hand. When he reads the note, it says, "I love you." Winston is confused, but also very excited. They eventually find a way to meet, and she shows him a secret hiding place where they begin their love affair. Winston finds out that this lady is called Julia. She also hates the party, but pretends to be in full support of it. They can't meet at the same place for too many times since they could get caught, so they're always meeting at different places. Knowing that they have now crossed a line that means damnation, Winston once says to Julia, "We are the dead." Julia responds by saying, "We are not dead yet." She wants to enjoy what they have and doesn't want to think of the consequences, while Winston believes this is a stand against the party. Winston talks to the old man, Mr. Charrington, who has a room upstairs that Winston wants to rent. They come to an agreement, and Winston and Julia find a place to be meeting. Winston is always ranting against the party. One day at work, Winston notices O'Brien following him. He stops him and tells him he wants them to meet and talk. He writes down his address and hands it to Winston. Winston goes to O'Brien's house. Julia also shows up. O'Brien turns off the telescreen, a privilege the members of the inner party have, but can only do so for 30 minutes before he becomes suspicious. He gives them wine, which Winston has never tasted. He is used to having Victory Gin, which is low-quality alcohol, but helps to dull the mind. He sees members of the inner party have a lot of privileges. O'Brien tells them that he is part of the brotherhood. He wants Julia and Winston to show commitment to the cause. They confess that they are willing to lie, steal, even kill children, and spread venereal diseases if it helps bring down the party. The only thing they are not willing to do is to be separated. He informs Winston that he will be given a briefcase with a book one day in the street. This book is basically a manifesto of the revolution written by Goldstein. During Hate Week, which is a week dedicated to hating enemy states of the party, Winston is given a briefcase by a man in a crowded street. He meets with Julia at the room in Mr. Charrington's shop. He reads the book aloud, and he sees that just like he thought before, unless the proles are enlightened, a true revolution cannot come about. As they are in the room, Winston thinking of life's hopelessness, he says to Julia, like he had before, "We are the dead." She this time says, "We are the dead." They hear a third voice say, "You are the dead." Party operatives barge into the room. They realize a telescreen was hidden behind a picture in the room. A man walks into the room, and Winston recognizes him. It's Mr. Charrington. This time he looks way younger. It was all a disguise, as he is a member of the Thought Police. Both Winston and Julia are taken to the Ministry of Love, which is responsible for torturing and imprisonment. While Winston is in his cell, many prisoners come and go. He does not know how long he is kept in prison. One day, Mr. Parsons is brought in. Turns out he once uttered, "Down with Big Brother" in his sleep, and his daughter managed to hear him. She tells the Thought Police about it. The strange thing is Mr. Parsons is proud of his daughter for her loyalty to the party. He believes that he deserves to be punished for having bad thoughts and hopes to be taken to a labor camp and not killed. Winston is beaten a lot by the guards. One day, O'Brien is brought into the cell. At first, Winston believes that he has been also captured. Turns out that O'Brien actually set the trap to capture him, and the party has been watching Winston for 7 years. Winston is tortured a lot. He has basically been reduced to a shell of a man, malnourished and spirit broken. O'Brien wants Winston to show complete obedience to the party. Not only should he repeat what the party says out of obedience and fear, he should also believe it. He holds up 4 fingers and wants Winston to say and believe that he is holding up 5 fingers. He is tortured using an electric device that sends pain throughout his body. O'Brien tells Winston that the party wants absolute power for the sake of power. They have to have absolute control of people in mind, body, and spirit. Winston is eventually taken to a better room and is at least fed more often. He seems to be improving according to O'Brien, but he is not able to denounce Julia. He is now taken to room 101. Room 101 is a room devised to bring your worst fears to life, so it's different for everyone. In Winston's case, he is strapped to a chair and a cage is put on his face. There are hungry rats in the cage, and if the latch is opened, the rats will burrow through Winston's face. This is his worst fear. As the cage is being pulled closer and the latch about to be opened, he cries and screams and says they should put someone else in there, anyone but him. He finally says it. Put Julia instead. He has been broken. After a while, he is released from prison. He is given another job with relatively good pay. He spends most of his time at a pub, drinking victory gin and playing chess. He runs into Julia one day on the street. They both have a chat and admit they betrayed each other. They have no feelings towards each other, like they did before. The party has no need to keep tabs on them anymore. The story ends with Winston seeing an image of Big Brother. He now loves Big Brother.